everyone. You are welcome to Sister right here on Channel One TV and City 97.3 FM. That's to all listeners. My name is Chris Kata, and I'm excited to be here with you to bring, the joy of helping people in relationships. And I don't do this alone. I actually do this with the sisters. But before we get into the sisters, a very big thank you to Gino for holding us down. Thank you so much for sponsoring this show. And also to each and every one that is tuned in right now, thank you for joining us on this show. And everyone who sends in their letters, thank you so much. Well, I talk about sending letters because you have to send in your letters of everything that you're going through in that relationship for us to read it on the show. And the sisters and I will actually find ways to help you navigate these problems. Ladies and gentlemen, before I introduce the sisters, let's take a quick break. We'll be right back. All right, you are welcome back to Sister right here on Channel One TV. And if you're listening, it's City 97.3 FM. Now it's time for me to introduce the sisters. But wait, if you want to send in your letters, you have to send it via sisterislive@gmail.com. And of course, we will read it right here on the show. And to your comments about the letters, all you need to do is, go to our Facebook page, Sister, and then you can leave your comments on all the letters right there. And we'll also get to read it on the show. Ladies and gentlemen, time to meet the sisters. Now, I'm going to be starting with the beautiful Selam. Hi, Selam.
Hey, hi, Chris.
How are you?
I'm good, darling.
Oh, you're looking all black beauty and all that with long hair, like you just came out from the water, mommy water. See your hair. Yuri.
Thank you. I'm trying to keep up with the Gen Zs.
You're trying to keep up with the Gen Zs?
Yeah.
I think you're trying to compete with the Little Mermaid. With your hair all the way long like that.
Yeah, I'm trying.
You're trying. I'm making you shy, sorry.
I'm blushing, actually.
I know.
Have you ever seen a dark-skinned girl blush?
You're turning purple. Ooh. Ooh.
That's sweet.
All right, you look beautiful today.
Thank you. So do you.
You always look beautiful, but today is extra. Oof.
Thank you. I like your hair.
I like your hair.
I think I want to get this next week.
You have to.
Yeah.
You have to. All right. Hello, the only doctor in the house, Dr. Ethel. Want to be like you when we grow up. Want to be doctors. Hi, Doc. How are you?
Hi, Chris. I'm fine. How are you too?
Fine, thank you. Do you feel better now?
I do.
Yes.
I do.
Of course,
God
you have
is
to
good.
feel better. You came last week to Sister, and then we gave you some energy to go back home.
Yeah. The energy
and some
here.
love.
Lots
and some
of
healing
it.
dust.
Lots of it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's nice to have you back on the show. How's work?
Thank you. Work is good. Good, yeah. Stressful,
Everything.
but good.
Yeah.
Yeah, keeps us going.
Yeah. Shout out to your students.
Yeah, shout out to all my students. I love you all.
And we have Rosie.
Hi, Chris.
Rosie, like we're far away. Like I don't like this feeling.
Magdalene, don't separate us like this again.
Don't do this, Rosie. Like, it's so different when you're far away.
I
because
know.
We're always used to sitting close
There's
to each
less
other.
mischief.
I know. Wow. Rosie, how's everything?
Everything is great. Everything is fantastic.
Work?
Work is good. Work is good. It comes with its challenges, but work is good. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then the writing?
Oh, writing is okay, except for the fact that right now the rains, it keeps coming as and when. So I'm not writing as much as I really want to. But yes, I'm still writing once in a while. I still write. And I wanted to say hello to Peter Mensah. Look, he's a colleague of mine at work. He listens to every single episode.
Wow.
And after every episode, by the time I get onto my phone, there's a comment here or there. So shout out to Peter,
Wow.
our entertainment minister.
Thank you, Peter, for always, listening to us and joining us on the show. We really, really appreciate, because it's with people like you that, makes us know that we are doing something great. So
Definitely.
Thank you.
Definitely.
All right, sisters. So we have 2 letters, and the viewers have sent in their letters. But before we get into the letters, a very big thank you to Gino for holding us down always, every week, right here on the show. And we really appreciate you for all that you do, Gino. So go out there and patronize Gino. Everything, Gino, from the tomatoes, from the rice, from everything, Gino. In fact, you need it in your life, okay? Because I said so. Anyway, so let's get straight into the letters. Are we ready?
Yes.
Yep.
we are.
Dear sisters, I have been watching your show for the past 3 months. Kudos to you and your panels. I have met this girl who shows me a lot of love and care. My problem is that I'm a university graduate and she's a junior high school graduate and a seamstress. The gap between our levels of education seems to pose some psychological trouble for me and makes me feel somehow uncomfortable. She's a good girl too. Should I overlook her educational status? I'm confused. Sisters, please advise me. Permit me to remain anonymous. Of course you are. Why are you looking at me like that? I didn't send the letter. I just read the letter. Please don't look at me like that. What's going on in your mind?
My first question is, what has education got to do with love? I mean, what has education got to do with love? Except he's saying that, okay, she's not, you know, well-groomed to an extent.
Probably.
Exactly. Except that. But apart from that, I don't think education has anything to do with who you love. You know, because you can have a very well-educated person, but then she doesn't have character.
Ill-mannered.
Exactly. And everything, when it comes to what you can train a person on is manners, you know, character, attitude. But when it comes to skills, maybe fine dining, maybe that's what you're looking at, you know, maybe how to sit
Etiquette,
like a lady,
yeah.
etiquette, all those things, it can be taught. So it doesn't really have to do, I don't think there's an issue with that. If you want her to be a bit polished, you know, you saying that you're a university graduate and all that, okay, you can. It's not too late to take her back to school or teach her, train her the way you want to train her. But I don't think that should come in between what you both share, except, you know, there's something else to it, except she's not giving you the peace you want. But if she's giving you, if she ticks all the boxes, I don't think education should come in between.
But for me, when I'm looking at this letter, when it even comes to the boxes, he said he's a university graduate, but he didn't mention if he has a job or not. But she's a high school graduate, junior high school graduate, but with a job.
Yes,
Seamstress.
and these as a seamstresses, they are no more. They are designers.
Yeah.
They are the ones making the money. So you could actually, you know, elevate this lady to a certain standard. You could help her get to a certain level where she become like the fashion designers, you know, the top tier people in this country and beyond.
Right.
You don't have to say because she's not well educated, just as you. You know, and education doesn't guarantee that your life will be better.
Right.
It doesn't.
So now, let's talk to Dr. Ethel. Of course, you're in academia already.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts about this when it comes to the level of education that two people have?
Education, honestly, this makes me happy in a way as in the fact that this conversation of wanting to marry a woman who is educated. Now, that is on the back of the fact that previously we've had men who would just want a woman down there by whatever means. She doesn't have education, she doesn't have a job, just so that he can triumph over her. So this makes me feel like, okay, these days, like I have made this point somewhere and it was sort of an argument. So it kind of confirms what I think, that men these days are looking for educated women. Of course, there are levels of it. But when it comes to the issue of marriage, I don't think that education per se is what we are looking for, unless that education is something that will contribute in a positive way. So fundamentally, education is not the issue here. When we are looking for a wife, we're looking for somebody who has some mutual values with you, somebody who has mutual respect with you, somebody who understands what it is to be, I mean, a marriage and do teamwork with a partner. That's what is fundamentally necessary. But I mean, having said that, it doesn't mean that education is off. It is important. It can contribute positively to your marriage if the two of you understand that education. So I'm happy about that, but he should know that if he has a good woman, his worry should not be that she doesn't have education. What he should be looking for is what her real intentions are, what are her values, what are her deep thoughts. Is she somebody who is matured enough? Do they have things that will keep them long term in that marriage? And I'm happy that Ajovi mentioned that you can develop her. And that's the essence of marriage, that you grow together, you develop each other. So if she's somebody who has the mindset of wanting to develop herself, wanting to go further, then I think you should look at it. Now, I do not want to dismiss his concern entirely. If it is something he deeply is worried about, to the extent that it's giving him psychological issues, he should not ignore that thinking, but he should actually address it by, first of all, looking at the fact that she is ready for marriage, she is good for him marriage-wise, but also to take care of that aspect of his concern, which is he likes a woman who is educated. There's nothing wrong with that. Because if he doesn't address it, he could, say, okay, I can manage you. And that shouldn't be what we do in marriage. We shouldn't be managing each other. That's why I like a woman who is educated. But okay, because you are good, I'll marry you. And then you find yourself cheating with a woman who is actually educated.
And then putting her down.
Putting her down. That should never happen. He should not do that. Because some men are fond of doing that.
They tend to do that easily.
Yes. They will want to take this woman for this that she brings, and then, okay, keep you at home. You are the home type. After all, you didn't go to school. Then when I go out there, I have fun with this other one. And then when he likes a beautiful woman.
Expose her everywhere. Take the other woman everywhere.
Everywhere. That becomes a ceremonial
wife.
The
English and tips, and you just the house.
The house. And you keep it. So
So
if that's how he's thinking, he should not make that mistake. I think his concern is valid, but I would advise that, look, for marriage, that's not the main thing, but also address your concern, education.
All right, so Rosie, we've seen a lot of men in society elevate women, help them get to certain positions, even the highest positions of life. And they're okay with that. We've seen that in so many countries, especially from Nigeria. I've seen that with the Igbo culture. The man will take you to your school, everything, pay everything. So in this situation, don't you think he should do that? If you have the means, why don't you educate her? Why don't you pay for her education? What do you think?
The first thing I'm going to say is that formal education is not for everybody.
Right.
And it's not everybody that really wants to go through that formal school thingy education. Mm-hmm. It doesn't mean that she doesn't want to be educated, because the fact that she knows how to sew, knows how to design, it means that she has learned something, some form of a vocation. But for him, he doesn't see that vocational education as education. His idea of education is GSS, high school, university, degree, masters, postgraduates, maybe PhD. That's what that's what he sees as education. And I wouldn't want to dismiss what he's saying, because I keep saying that when you meet someone who is out of GHS and doesn't have a job, hasn't progressed, and you meet someone who is out of secondary, high school, hasn't progressed, and you meet somebody that has been through uni, there's always a difference in the way they see things, except for the fact that they are deliberate about seeing things in other. Because you see, the first and second cycles of education, you are pretty much under parental control. Mm-hmm. But with the tertiary education, most of the time, you have a taste at living on your own, sort of like as an adult, but at the same time under school authority. So realize that the level of mingling, the level of interdependence is very different from what you experience in secondary school. So sometimes, I'm not saying like when we talk, sometimes when we make these general statements, it doesn't mean everybody. Sometimes you realize that ways of thinking, how open-mindedness you are, how willing you are to accept of certain things, they vary as you go along the educational ladder. That being said, if you're in a relationship, like Doc rightly said, you should be in a relationship for the right reasons. And they have stated, Joe and Doc have stated the right reasons that we feel should be a reason for anybody to want to be with somebody. However, because we are different, everybody has what is important to them. I don't see why you should go into a relationship with the need of wanting to improve that person in order to suit you. It's an abuse of what the person wants. Because mind you, you're a graduate. And because he was silent on the job, I know that he has his file under his armpits with a CV, going around looking for a job. This woman probably is even capable of taking care of you.
Definitely.
Like Ajovi said, some of the costumes that are being sewn these days, if we tell you how much it costs, even the ones that don't even have labels, that just sew very well. If we tell you how much we pay for some of these custom outfits that we wear, you realize that some of them probably earn more than those of us who are working in a formal 9 to 5 kind of thing. And then they have the luxury of time. They're even able to enjoy their families and everything. So my take is that from the way he's talking, it's something that eats him. Even though from where we sit, we think it shouldn't be a problem.
It is a problem.
That's we, from where we sit, we think that it shouldn't be a problem. You've met a good woman, she ticks all your boxes, she makes you happy, you know that she'll be the right person for you and everything. But for some reason, that educational gap is eating at you. Don't downplay it. Because if you downplay it, what's going to happen is that you marry her,
Comparison.
have kids with her, but the next educated woman that gives you a little attention, you jump at her, you jump at her. And then you start being the man who is cheating on your wife. You now become the man like like the kind of man we described last week. The man who probably have a family with a more educated woman, and then the wife is at home doing nothing. You even not see the good things that your wife is doing, the progress that she's making. Even when she's successful, you can't even big her up because in your mind, once she's not educated, she's not posh. She can't amount to anything. But when you love a woman for who she is, what happens is that on their own, they themselves are able to sort of like upgrade themselves, polish themselves. Even if not formal education, they can go to a school that will teach them some form of etiquette, some form of social speaking, some leadership roles. And even in their line of business, the seamstress work, they won't be sewing on
a certain level.
On a certain day, they would even upgrade their level. Maybe they would even decide that, look, listen, this is high time to move from to designer to probably, carve a niche or do something. Then they can upgrade. Look, some of the designers... Couture. Is it couture or couture?
It's a couture.
Whichever one. It depends on where you are coming from, right? Maybe I will say couture. So the thing is that, so I think that my problem is that the mindset with which he's looking at this lady is wrong.
Yeah.
And in my view, he's going to worry her. And the lady will not be able to live up her potential.
Because of him.
Because of him. Because somewhere in the back of his mind, he's going to be downplaying the lady's potential and what she's really valued or what she's really worth. And if he's not careful, it's not going to affect the woman. Because the woman may even start believing in the way he believes or he thinks about her, and that might even affect her growth. So all I'm trying to say, if you love this woman so much, it's two options. Either you take her, value her, respect her, love her as she is. And when you love somebody right, you treat somebody right, they blossom, they grow, and they're able to do a lot of things. They can even upgrade themselves. But if you know that this education gap is a huge stumbling block, don't waste her time. Leave her for somebody who values her to come and take her and appreciate her.
Right.
But when you see her somewhere flourishing, don't be jealous that this could have been my wife and somebody else. Now, there's a story that happened to me. When I was in uni, my final year, there was this guy that, just 5 days so into date, like trying to, let's see, the guy wakes up one morning and tells me that, you know what, when I grow up, I don't see you in my future.
Oh, yeah.
And I said, why, what's up? And this guy used to do vacation jobs in a bank. So he says, so, I work in a bank and I don't think you are someone who can match up to that. And even this is me who was in uni in my final year. And I've been in the bank for 20 years now. So now I'm asking myself, what did he think that
You would amount to?
Exactly. So the thing is that sometimes people prematurely judge people without knowing their full potential. You don't know why they are there at that particular point in time. It's possible that the reason why she even chose this was because the opportunities were not there. It could be financial reasons, it could be anything. Maybe given the opportunity, they'll go back to school. You can read the master's program even without even going through the secondary cycle institution. So there are so many things, so many possibilities, but don't make it a condition precedent for marriage. It should be valuing her for who she is, because those qualities you were describing, they don't come easy. There are people who are so learned, but you don't get that thing that you are seeing in this interest in them. So you need to know where you need to put your, how do you say it? What's the statement? Put whatever. You need to know, you need to know what you value really in life and know what to do. But if you know that you can't handle her as she is, don't go and mess up with her. That's what I think.
I was just going to use this to, advise women, even though it's not a woman writing this letter, that, if you have the privilege of knowing this mind of a man, he says, I don't want, I want you to upgrade yourself, or I want an educated woman to whatever level. Don't just say, oh, it's fine and it will be okay along the line. You need to take a deep thought about this and know that if you are not able to meet it, you are going to be at a disadvantage. He's going to go out there and get someone and you are the one going to suffer. So if you can't deal with that situation, let it go. Because sometimes we are the ones that hold on to it and try to rationalize things, but I would be happy if this man has a discussion with this lady and let her know where he is at with this whole thought. And she too is genuine and very honest with her thoughts, so that we lay things bare from the very beginning and nobody is surprised at a later time.
I think that he loves her to an extent. There's a but. Let me give you, Rosie shared a personal experience. Let me share a personal experience with you. So some years back, I met this very well-accomplished man, lawyer, real estate, if you are watching, well put together. And I think at the time, I was going through life, tough. And I didn't have my degree at the time. So I think I did mention the degree. I think he asked me one time what I wanted to do with myself, and I said a whole lot of things. And his response to me was, oh, while your mates are thinking of going to do their masters in Canada, you say you want to do this business and all that. And in the moment, what I thought was, I can't even find my foot. I just want to be able to put myself together so I can, say this is where I want to be. Because I didn't even know what I wanted to do. Fast forward, he'll give you money here and there. And most of the time, yes, he loved me, but it was to an extent. There was a but. Most of the time, he made me feel
inadequate.
Exactly. Like I wasn't thinking big enough. I wasn't getting it, or I wouldn't go do well in life. Months down the line, we went our separate ways. When we went our separate ways, he tried coming back. And then one of the things he said to me during that time was, he never thought I could walk away. You know why? Because he is well put together. He's well accomplished. Ideally, the typical Ghanaian girl is supposed to go, oh, this man is rich, this one is I can't leave him. And I think almost all the time, I was quiet about most of the things he would do. That's not because I didn't want to talk, but because I was fully aware. I felt I could handle whatever it is he was doing. But to him, it felt like, you don't know what you're about. Fast forward, then I met someone else. Then that person, based on how I talk, based on how I react, he said, Salma, you could actually go to school and do this and do this and do that. I said, really? Truth of the matter, I didn't know. I said, really? Then I went back, continued my degree, got it.
Wow.
Then one time on my birthday, he
That's
took me
another
to...
man's advice.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, so you see,
Yes.
there's a difference.
Yeah, so there's a but. And then
There's a
one time
difference.
on my birthday, he took me to one of these fancy restaurants. I was so in awe of the place. I loved it. I loved the fine dining and everything. And then he said to me, he looked at me, he's also well-to-do, also very, very well accomplished, academically, professionally. Because even when it comes to my career, I ask for advice and all that. And then he said to me, Salom, you know there are people in Ghana that just have a master's and they are being paid 20,000 Ghana cedis. That was the first I heard.
Oh.
I was shocked. I was like,
There
what?
are-
20,000 Ghana cedis, a salary? He said, yeah. Because he doesn't work in Ghana, right?
Okay.
So I thought, I never thought it's possible, right? Fast forward, I think a year or two down the line, I got my master's. In fact, I didn't even get my master's. I started getting, he basically helped me psych my mind to an extent that I was capable of anything with the little education that I have, with how I think, with who I am, with how hardworking I am. He basically just elevated me mentally together, even before I got the master's. Then I started getting jobs. I started interviewing differently. I started getting jobs that were paying me well. I can tell you that, this has been a very personal story. I can tell you that since I met that person, since, you know, how we related, I have never left one job to the other and gotten paid less. It's been elevation to elevation, grace to grace,
Just like one
just
man.
like that. So now, then this person, well put together gentleman who
Achulai.
exactly tried to come back after he had seen how well things were going for me. I mean, in his mind, he thought I had it all figured out because we're all trying to figure it out, right? Tried to come back. But here's the thing. What he failed to see, another person saw and felt he could actually guide it to that extent. It is true that you could actually do this for a woman or for a man, help develop her, and then she wouldn't pay you back well. It is true. These are things that happen. But to be a good human, that's a question you ask yourself.
Right.
Right. So I think he's in love with her, but I think there's a limit to it. There's a but.
Right.
I don't think
But the
he's-
battle is a battle with himself.
Yes.
Right.
So
So
he
you
needs
should
to
figure
sort
that out and not involve
Yeah,
someone
we
else's
had
daughter.
some comments here from our Facebook page. Caroline says, did the girl hide her educational background from you? Just pursue your goals and leave the poor girl alone. That's what everybody's saying. Kofi Menu, it is causing you so much trouble already. What help can we give? Please let the girl be with someone who values her and would come for her someday.
Yeah.
Like her story. Ikia Mensah says, love is not about degrees, it's about understanding, support, and shared values. Like Doc said, if she's respectful, ambitious, and makes you happy, don't let societal standards make you lose a good thing. Kwame Owusu says, educational level matters if you plan to build an intellectual partnership. But many university graduates lack common
But most of those
wisdom
relationships are
in
boring.
relationships.
Like you said 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. Focus on your character and whether she wants to grow with you. AC is saying, my husband has a master's degrees and I'm an SHS graduate running a bakery. We've built a happy life because we respect each other. Don't let classism rob you of a good future.
Sharp.
Yeah. It's so classist. And you're only university graduates. Hey, so when you become a
PhD holder.
Hey,
That's true.
Doc, I shouldn't be sitting with you.
Why?
Nanaya Edwia is saying, ask yourself, is the discomfort within or from pressure outside?
That's the
If it's society speaking, block out the noise. But if you feel you are not intellectually compatible, then let's be honest, before it turns into resentment.
yeah.
Lydia Sewa, education can be pursued at any stage.
Yes.
Yeah. If the relationship is solid, you can even encourage her to further her education.
Yes.
Yes.
Don't throw love away because of a temporary gap. Fred is saying, brother, you are not wrong for having concerns, but look at the brighter picture. How she treats you, how she respects your dream, and whether you can build together. Educational difference can be bridged with love, communication, and shared vision. Thank you so much, guys. Anyway, on that note, let's take a quick break, and when we come back, we will jump into the second letter. Hi guys, you are welcome back to Sister Sister right here on Channel One TV. And if you are listening, this is City 97.3 FM. So this is the longest running relationship show on air. That's if you're just joining us. So we've read one letter already, which you've sent, and now we have another letter again that you sent to us that we have to go through for us to help you overcome these challenges. All right. Hello, sisters. I'm here again. It appears I'm not lucky when it comes to relationships. Wow, you're an ardent watcher or listener. I need your advice. I met this lady 2 years after my first girlfriend left me to marry someone she told me was her friend. And within the first 3 months, I traveled because of work, and during my absence, she cheated on me with 2 guys, and I found out and confronted her. And she said she didn't know I wanted a serious relationship and apologized. I forgave her. Since then, she has changed. It's been 2 years now, but I keep getting flashbacks and I fear she will cheat again. Please, what's the possibility of her doing it again? And mind you, I'm not in the country currently. Ooh, something is playing with your mind. Yeah. Doc, I'm going to start with you because you agree with me that,
I do.
he's having flashbacks probably.
Yes, I think that he's been wounded so much. And yes, genuinely, when you go through that kind of hurt, betrayal in that manner, yes, you will have wounds. And those wounds need to be taken care of before you get involved with anybody, so that you do not bleed on another person. And so I think that that is what is playing out here, because he hasn't said that this lady has done anything particularly, unless I don't recall.
Just that she cheated.
Is she the first person who cheated?
No, the first one married someone else.
Okay, yes, she cheated before.
Cheated with 2 people.
Yes. And he says she has changed.
Yeah.
And so he's now having flashbacks of this current person. Okay. Yeah. So yes, that is what is triggering it. But I think that because of where he's come from, he needs to be kinder to himself and who he, gets into a relationship with. Because it's possible that somebody who doesn't have that history would have handled this differently. So he would be triggered more and it would hurt him deeper. So I don't see why he should even be entertaining so much. If she has cheated and you don't like it, I think that you can excuse yourself, or you start to work on your wounds.
Right. All right.
So that you don't keep going, maybe, making it look like it is her who is having an issue. So there are 2 things. It's either that this girl has not really changed. Maybe it's by word of mouth. She says she has changed.
No, he said she changed. He's saying that he's not saying she said she has changed. He's saying she has changed.
So,
but the but is
I'm having flashbacks.
Yeah.
And yes, those things happen, and they need to be discussed. And if you can't handle it, don't be there with somebody who has cheated again twice, and you being away. That's another whole thing that needs to be discussed. And because if you have so much insecurity, it doesn't go well with long distance relationship. For a long distance relationship to work, there has to be a lot of trust, a lot of openness and honesty between the 2 of you. So if you are struggling now and you are always away, I don't know if it's permanently. If it's permanently, you have issues. He's going to struggle a lot.
All right. Salam. So she said something about, forgiving or just walking away from the relationship. Why is it that it's easier for women to always forgive, but when it comes to the man, it's hard to forgive? Because right now, obviously, he has forgiven, but he's still doing 1, 2, 1, 2. So do you think everybody should forgive someone that have cheated on them?
I think the forgiveness is not for the person, it's for you to heal. But I think that women are quick to forgive and stay because of one, how we've been brought up as Africans, and also because women are always loving with their heart fully. But men love you, they are loving with their hearts, but they are using their mind as well. You know, so in as much as he has forgiven you, I think it's really difficult for men to forgive cheating. So the few who would forgive you would have issues like this, these internal issues, and it never goes away. It means that you need to take time to heal properly, deal with it. Because it could be true that your partner has really, really, truly, truly changed. It's not going to happen again. But because you haven't dealt with it, you know, it's deep-rooted within you. And mind you, this is not the first time he's gone through it. This is the second time. So obviously he's gone through, you know, a whole lot of things, which is why I'm always of the view that when you get out of a relationship, take time to heal. Yes.
Yeah.
Take time to heal properly before
Don't
you jump onto the next man or the next woman. And unfortunately, women tend to do that a lot.
Yeah.
As soon as she's done with Kofi, she's thinking, let me jump to Kweku, who's been bugging me for years, so I can get over Kofi.
No, I don't think it's women. I think, I think it's general.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me not be
I've
there.
seen some men that tell you, I don't even catch a break onto the next.
So I can get over the next person. But I tell you this, at the point where you get to be alone for real, you will feel it. All these emotions come back. All these emotions come back. It's very important that after a failed relationship, you take time to heal. We need that. It's just sad that we don't really realize how these emotional issues go
Hunt
deep.
us,
Exactly.
yes. Into the future.
Exactly. People suffer from
Traumas.
issues they had even at the age of 6, you know, at younger ages, not even when you're grown into your adulthood or your manhood or your womanhood, you know. I think it's important to take time to heal. Personally, I think that it's an internal issue he has with himself, even though another person caused it. So if you ask me, I think he should take time to heal, because he'll keep having trust issues. And there's a marriage you're thinking of going into with this person. Nobody goes into marriage with the hope of getting out so quickly. So he should take time to work on it before he decides. Once he heals himself, his answer will come to him. If to continue with it or to back out of it.
Right. So Rosie, this issue of being with yourself and healing that we actually talk about, in our part of the world, it's not really spoken about. It's not really talked about because nobody sees the importance. But looking at this guy, why do you think, or let's just say this guy representing a lot of people, why do you think people just jump into relationships?
People jump into relationships. One, peer pressure. That's the biggest one, peer pressure. When you are in a situation where all your friends, in some cases your younger siblings, younger cousins, those that in the family, they didn't even amount to anything. They are even getting married, they have 2, 3 children. And then you are just there. You're not settled yet. So that kind of pressure gets to you. So when you are in a relationship and you think this is going to lead to marriage and it doesn't happen, you don't have the luxury of time to wait, because the judgments coming from others is real. And when you go home, hey, Rosie, watch, you know, worry. You know, worry. You know, that kind of pressure, you know, it gets into your mind. So it's like when you leave one, you want to satisfy that societal pressure that, yes, you left that one, and I'm moving on to the next. To just satisfy, so they can keep quiet. And even though this one didn't work out, this one has come, and then this one hopefully is going to end well too. The fear of quote-unquote biological clock. How biological it is, we don't know. Because I know people whose clock ended at 28.
Yeah.
Some too, their clock will be there till 60. You understand? But this whole talk of biological clock is also another factor. That's why people want to jump in. 3, people have the need for companionship. They need to be owned and to own. So they are a group of people that when they are in the single category, it's like they have not arrived. Their life doesn't amount to anything. They need to be loved, and they also need to love. They need to own, and they want to be owned. They want to. They may not get the love, but they need to say that point to somebody and say, I'm responsible for this person, and also be able to say, this person is also responsible for me. So there are certain people that they can't go through that phase where they are just alone. It's just me loving myself. It always has to be about somebody else and how the person is treating them or how they are treating
Don't you
treating
think
that
that's
person.
dangerous?
It's dangerous. That's something you asked me why the need. So these are some of the reasons why I'm not sure it's exhaustive, but these are some of the reasons why people cannot allow themselves to heal. However, it's important. Look, listen. For me, even sometimes when we do, there's a reason why like when someone dies, they do a postmortem to figure out what happened. Even for relationships, when relationships end or they die, as an individual, you need to do that postmortem. Sometimes you need to go into your thoughts because you see, while a relationship is life, there are certain red flags that you don't pick it because your emotions are involved. So when it ends, there's a sense of clarity that if you're able to sit within yourself and diagnose the whole relationship, put it on a plate in front of you as if you're a third person and diagnose everything you've gone through, sometimes you realize the red flags you should have picked that you didn't pick. You realize what you did that you shouldn't have done. You realize that, look, it's not about me, it's about the person. Then you tend to heal. In some cases, or in most cases, for you to eventually move on, you need to be able to forgive yourself and even the other person. So when you go through all those processes, when you get to another relationship, that relationship is very different from the one you are in before.
Right.
You don't treat it as a continuation. But the moment you jump and you get to the next one, it's a continuation. And the slightest of things will trigger because you haven't dealt with it yet. Now, that being said, you see, sometimes some of these men too, when they come and propose to you or they want to be with you, they don't state it clearly.
Thank you.
You see, they are not clear. I have an incident where there was a guy where we were in school. Everybody was like, oh, this guy and this girl, they used to tease them. And then they were always denying it, like they were brother and sister in the Lord. They always denying it. Then one day after school, the girl got married to somebody else. And the man was broken-hearted for about 2-3 years. That the girl had broken his heart by going to marry somebody else. Meanwhile, you never made your intentions known. So there are some men too who, by virtue of the fact that they are spending time with you, they take you out on dinners, they buy stuff for you, they think that you should know and assume that you're in a relationship. Because I'm picturing that that's what probably happened. Because somebody who is a proper cheat would not cheat on you in 3 months of your relationship with 2 different people and all of a sudden overnight change and never have anything to do with anybody again. Unless, of course, she didn't know she didn't know the definition of what both of you had.
Yeah.
So as soon as both of you had that conversation and she knew where your head was at,
Then
she said, okay, fine, then I'm all for you.
I'm all for you.
I'm all for you. And you see, some of these things, they are difficult. But if you truly know that this is what happened, where the girl didn't really know what's the scope, like where you are
scope
at.
of a relationship, yeah.
And she too, she's just
Leaving.
she's just living. She's also in the market. She's looking for best prices. You know, you go to this trader, Charlie, what do you have? What do you have? She's looking for best prices. And now somebody says, look, listen, this is what I want to offer you. And now she's saying, okay, no, let me just stick to this one. And now she has truly stuck with it for about 2 years. I think that it's high time you allow some of those triggers to go.
And you work on yourself.
And you work on yourself. If you can't date her and work on yourself, then do her a favor and leave
Let
her.
her go.
Because I envisage a future where you probably get married, and anytime there's an argument,
You'll tell her she should.
you were cheating on me. You are a cheat. You are a cheat. You know, and it's unfortunate. You don't. And I have a problem when you claim you have forgiven someone,
And you keep on bringing
and yet
back their
you
past.
keep on doing things to show that you haven't forgiven the person. Then it means you have not forgiven the person. So what I think is that he has past demons he hasn't dealt with. And the fact that it's a long distance relationship aggravates
the whole thing.
the whole thing, and even enlarges the demons even bigger than they truly are. His gut feelings and his own words profess that she does it no more. But if that is not good enough for you, then my dear, don't waste your time, don't waste her time. But if you think that what she brings to the table, she's truly worth it, you know that this girl really loves you, you have the benefit of long distance to work on yourself wherever you are. seek therapy wherever you are. And the good thing is that I don't know where he is, but maybe where he is, there's better therapy there.
Access to therapy.
Yes, there's better access to therapy more than, in Ghana here. So this is an opportunity to seek proper therapy, sometimes even away from your girlfriend. So there's no immediate noise whilst you are getting it. So that's actually the best time to do it. And after the therapy, then you make a decision for yourself, whether you really want to be with this woman or not. You see, when it comes to relationships, I believe that we should all own it. If you want it, you want it. If you don't want it, you don't want it. You don't want it. And then deal with whatever consequences there are. But this lukewarm attitude where I want, I don't want, it's like you are in, but you want to blame the other party for something. And, it's, for me, it's a very lukewarm attitude. And having a lukewarm attitude is not a sign of the kind of maturity that is desired to be in a relationship, and especially to be in a marriage. So it's either you are doing it or you are not doing it. If you are doing it, do it right. If you don't do it too hard, then you get out.
All right. We actually have some messages here. Amakusi from Kumasi is saying, you see, forgiveness is one thing, but healing is another. If you're still having flashbacks and can't trust her, then the relationship is sitting on broken glass. Don't stay because she has changed, but stay only if you have healed too. So she could be changed, but you not healing is a problem. Yeah. Wamade Mark is saying that she can repeat that anytime. If you want your peace and safe heart, then let her go. She might have been cheating without you knowing. That's not the point. The point is there was no clear communication. Stop blaming women always. Chukuka Eze says, my brother, once trust is broken, it's hard to rebuild, especially in a long-distance relationship. You forgave her, that's good, but ask yourself, can you truly move forward with peace? If not, it's better to let go than to live in fear. And I feel like even if he let her go, the next person will suffer the same thing.
Exactly, because he hasn't dealt with it. He hasn't healed.
Doesn't heal.
Yes. And Prila Apia is saying, you'll never understand this life. Those who are cool and innocent will end up in the worst relationship, and vice versa. So this is not about the girl, but it's just about life in general. Akosha Deborah is saying, the fact that you're still thinking about it means you haven't fully healed. If you are not at peace, then your relationship might just be surviving out of habit, not love. Cheating is a big red flag, and being far away makes it harder. This has been a very interesting conversation, and I really enjoyed it. But I want to say a very big thank you to each and every one of you for coming today. And I wouldn't be asking you what are we, because I know what we are already. We are sisters. Thank you, sister. Thank you. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll take a quick break, and when we come back, I will be sharing my final thoughts. All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Now it's time for me to share my final thoughts. But before that, I want to say a very big thank you to each and every one of you that has, stayed tuned throughout the whole show. And a very big thank you to Gino for sponsoring us. Now, ladies and gentlemen, my final thoughts on both letters. Okay, so the first one about educational level. I have a problem with this man. In fact, you sent a letter. You're a man, you sent a letter. I have a problem with you, and my problem is, like Rosie said, if education is your problem, if your educational level is your problem, you think your educational level does not match with the girl, I think you should go after what you want and leave her in peace. If it doesn't work for you, why do you still want to pursue her? Why do you still want to keep her, but yet complain? If you keep going for her and end up marrying her, you are going to stress this woman. You are going to put her down. You're going to break her heart, because definitely you might find someone that reaches your educational level, that matches you there educationally. So I think if you can't help her, say, have that discussion with her and ask her, what would you want to do and all that, and then let her be the one that say, okay, yeah, I think it's a good idea to actually pursue my education. If you cannot have that conversation with her, please let her go. Let her go. Because she's definitely not your type. You just like who she is, what she looks like, but you don't see her there with you. So you like something about her, but not completely love her as a person, as a whole person. So let her go. I just think you should let her go. Go for your type. She's not your type. Now, the second one, young man, I think two problems here. This whole scenario has two problems. First, this has to do with communication. A lot of people out there just start relationships without communication. That's why they ask the question, is your boo your boo? You think it's your boo, but it's not your boo because you guys have not agreed that we are boos or we are just playing around with each other. You probably were thinking that you are boos, but you didn't make that clear to her. You never told her, look, this is what I want from you, and this is where we are going with this. All you did was just started a relationship or started something with a spark, and then life goes on. But to her, maybe being someone that is used to, having that communication and never got that energy from you, she probably was thinking like, okay, you know what? You probably don't live here, or maybe you live here and we're just playing with ourselves. A lot of people think like that. Even men do think like that. So I think it's important to each and everyone that wants to enter a relationship, it's very important to have that discussion, to know what you're doing, where you're about, where you're going, and all that. So I think I might side with her that she probably didn't know that you guys were into something more serious. And for the fact that you said she's changed, I think if you can see that she's changed, then she's really changed. But now the problem in all this is you. You, because you haven't healed from your past. That is why you sort of like see a cheat, or you're getting flashbacks. You're not just getting flashbacks of her, but you're also getting flashbacks of your last relationship, of, wanting to be with someone and the person got married with her ex or something like that. So you're not just having flashbacks from one person. You're having flashbacks from, all the negative things that have happened in your relationship, and that's what's bugging you. So I think you need some time to yourself. You need to speak to a therapist. You need to take a break. And it's good that you're outside the country and she's here. So that means there's no one really bugging you to say, we need to be together. I need to see you today. Oh, baby this, oh, baby that. No. So this is the time you need to really work on yourself. Have therapy. Speak to someone. Heal from the past. Or else, even if you leave this girl, the next person will still bear the brunt of all the things that you've gone through because you have not healed. And this goes out to everyone out there. When a relationship ends, try to have a relationship alone with yourself. Don't just jump into the next relationship or the next available person. Learn to love yourself. Think about yourself. Audit your relationships. Find what was wrong. What could be better, and all that. Forgive yourself, or else everything will be building up and having a ripple effect on the next relationship, and the next marriage, and it's going to be a very horrible marriage, and then it will trickle to your children, and then it will trickle to your children's children. Everybody's just traumatized. The whole generation will just be trauma-filled. A lot of people are living like that because your parents did not even do that job of, working on themselves. So there's some sort of bitterness. There's some sort of resentment. There's something. It's just going down to everyone. So I think you need to really work on yourself. But thank you for actually believing in us to read your letter and to talk about your issue. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for also joining us on this episode of Sister Sister. Remember that you can actually send in your letters via sistersisterislike@gmail.com. And thank you to our sponsors, Gino, for holding us down always. My name is Chris Kata, and see you next week, the same time, right here on ChannelOne TV and City 97.3 FM.